start the meeting with a pledge of allegiance, please?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Sorry for the delay this evening. We had a committee meeting just before this meeting. I will take a motion for the consent agenda. Mr. Percy?
So moved.
I have a motion on the consent agenda. Do I have a second? Ms. Fisher? Motion and a second. Is there anybody? Mr. Percy?
I'd like to pull B, please.
Item D is pulled. Anybody else have any items that they wish to have pulled from consent? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to approve, take a vote to approve everything but B by a show of hands, all in favor. And it looks like it was unanimous. So, item B, Mr. Percy, you have
Just the location of the meeting was the Center Road School Library, as I recall. You didn't know. The board meeting was that night, was at Center Road.
That's
Facility
correct.
before was at the Center Road Library, and it says administration.
Okay, so the amending the location to Center Road School is the correction. Any other discussion on item B? And Mr. Percy, I assume you make that a motion that
Yes,
approves that? And do I have a second on that, Ms. Fisher? I have a motion and a second to approve 1.0B with the amendment of changing the location. All in favor by show of hands? And that's unanimous. Moving on, item 2.0, item 2.1, opportunity for board to add or delete agenda items. Mr. First. Ms. Fisher, I'm going to turn it to Ms.
I move that we add an item 5.2A, which is a gifts, grants, donations for purchases, supplies for feeding children everywhere, and item 5.2B, which is approval of grant award to the street support.
A motion to add a 5.2A and a 5.2B. Do I have a second on that motion, Mr. Percy?
Second.
I have a second on the motion. Any discussion on the motion to add those two items that were in your folders? Seeing no discussion, I'm going to call that to a vote by a show of hands. All in favor? And that's unanimous. Okay. Anybody else? Mr. Percy?
I'd like to make a motion to remove item 5.9.
5.9. That is the item for discussion of the approved budget in education. Ms. Arm?
Second.
A motion is second to remove item 5.9. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, I'm going to call that motion to a vote by a show of hands. All in favor of remove item 5.9? And, okay, it's unanimous. Okay, anybody else? Seeing none, I'm going to move on to item 2.2, which is the report from Rock High School student representative.
Well, it's been quite a while since I've been able to come and since we've had a meeting, so there's been a lot going on and a lot of good things to report. We had midterm exams a while ago, and overall those went really well. And we have CAT and CMT testing next week, which is exciting because this is my first year as a junior, so we get to go in late. Last Friday, we had the first improv night, which was to support the German exchange program, and it was just a bunch of seniors who went up and had games they would play, and they would ask the audience for suggestions, and they would do a spoof right off of that suggestion, and it went really well. We also, over the weekend, had a jazz band competition held at Fermi, and we were the only band of 9 bands to receive a gold medal, and we had 2 of our musicians given Superior Solo Awards. Also, we are going to be performing at the Community Art Show this coming Monday, so that's exciting. For creative writing, there's a lot of good news to report. We, as a creative writing program, a lot of us enter a contest called Scholastic, which is for writing and art. But for writing, We received 95 awards, which is really unheard of, and it's very extreme because not only is this in Connecticut, but this is the Northeast region, and it's in keys. There's a bronze key, a silver key, and a gold key, and there are 8 gold keys given throughout the region, and we received 4 of them. So just to show how really amazing that is, it's quite an honor. Also for creative writing, NBC News is going to be coming in to do an expo on Mrs. Nordland's classes because it's such a lot of stuff has been going around about creative writing, so they wanted to see what goes on, which is really exciting. And also, we had the playwright professor from Drexel University request to come down and speak to some of our classes because he was amazed at how many awards we've been winning this year. Also, we're going to be starting a Chinese culture and language course, which is really exciting because we only have a select few languages. And it's going to be for grades 6 through 12, Mondays and Wednesdays after school. And it's going to start on March 11th and May 20th. And I have registration forms if anyone is interested in seeing more information. Also, we are going to be hosting the Middle School Eastern Regions Festival. So that's really just a good rep for Rockville, and it's going to bring a lot of good news, and it's going to host the best musicians of the middle school category. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your report. Is there any questions for us? Stephen, thank you very much for your report. We're going to move on to item 3.0, which is community forum. This is the opportunity for comments on the agenda items, potential future agenda items, or general information provided to the Board of Education from citizens or community organizations. Is there anybody who would like to speak to the board this evening? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Jill Goldberg. I am the District Fine Arts Coordinator for the Visual Arts and Music Programs K through 12. And I'm here to publicly invite the board and the community to come and see Vernon's first art exhibit at the Vernon Community Arts Center this year. And I'll turn this around in a minute. You will see many of these posters around town. They were designed by some of our digital art students from Rockville High School, and they are advertising our exhibit, which will officially open this Friday, March 1st, and be up for the entire month of March. And again, this is a really exciting partnership we have this year with the Vernon Community Arts Center, and we're really looking forward to it. And I know all the board members have hopefully received their invitations to our opening reception next Monday evening, March the 4th, and from 6 to 8 p.m. And our Rockville High School Jazz Band will also be performing that night as well. So thank you. Hope you can all make it.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak to the board this evening? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Tanya Damon Narrow, 138 Grove Street. I'm just going to ask if you, when you're talking tonight, if you can really speak into your microphones, because the blower is making it really hard to hear you if you're not in your microphone. I have 2 things I'd like to address the board with this evening. The first is the budget, which you're not obviously going to speak about tonight because you just took it off the agenda. But I have concerns with the possibility, if the budget doesn't go through as the 7.24% increase, that teachers may be on the chopping block. It's rumored that that might happen, and I have 2 children who are going into grades next year that this would impact in a negative way. I don't see having 24 and 25 4th graders in a classroom, and I don't see splitting 3 3rd grades into 2 1st grades as a benefit with some behavior struggles that we have had in that grade since kindergarten. So I'm asking the board to maybe relook at its policy for student enrollment in classes and to take into account when behavior is a contributing factor to hindrance of learning. I think that it's great that we have a policy on how many kids can be in a class, But I think sometimes there are circumstances that you all may not be aware of, and you just stick to that number, and that's good for policy, but it's not always good for learning. So I'm asking that if it comes down to the fact that our budget for education needs to be reduced, that the reduction of teachers not be on the table. And second, in your marketing plan for the budget, I used to be a reporter for education along the Eastern Seaboard for many weekly newspapers, and something that Vernon does not do well is they don't toot their own horn. And this may be more work for schools, principals in fact, but it might be a good idea to start sending out little news blips of the positive things that are happening in our schools, since the only thing we seem to be hearing, except for the lovely high schools writing awards, is the bottom 30. That's what sticks in people's mind. They want to know the good things. So I know at Northeast they have a heart campaign going on. Maybe that's something that can be submitted to the newspaper with a little blurb. I'm sure Lake Street has great things going on in their classroom. I think that we need to start tooting our own horn and getting those out into the community where people can hear about them, so that, because the only thing that we're getting right now is the negatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak to the board this evening? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Hello, Nancy Sullivan.
Please pull the mic close just so that everybody will be able to hear you.
Nancy Sullivan, 134 Evergreen Road. I wanted to thank those of you from the board who were at the parent group meeting at the high school last week. And I also want to thank you in advance for those of you who are coming to the March 7th BCMS PTO meeting. We're going to start sending out notices to let everybody know that you'll be there to answer questions about the budget. And I also wanted to let you know that on March 13th, it's a Wednesday night at Vernon's Middle School, we're going to have a internet safety presentation. Very happy to report that all of the PTOs in town got together and we're all sponsoring this as one big group. So you're more than welcome to come and see if that, it's geared towards children 4th grade and higher. And that's at 7 o'clock at BCMS on the 13th. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak to the board this evening?